How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Kevin Love has been one of the most forgotten players over the last few years. Pretty irrelevant after LeBron left Cleveland in 2018. After James took his talents to LA, Love agreed to sign an extension. 4 years, $120 million. Obviously, not living up to his expectations or anywhere close to that. Made over $24 million in 2019, being limited. 30 mil for 2020. Only played 4 total games as of 2021 so far. So, where has he been? Is he still a good player? Is he still reliable? Will he get bought out? Or will the 32-year-old retire sooner than expected? Let's take a deep dive into his NBA career. Drafted 5th overall in the 2008 draft out of UCLA, the number 1 ranked high school player was well ahead of Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin for his class, an undersized 4 who lacked athleticism but stocky with thick legs, lacks quickness, but a monster on the glass, had tons of baby fat early on. Averaged 11-9 as a rookie, decent numbers, but the Timberwolves franchise were an absolute travesty. Played 6 seasons, no playoff appearance, basically put up empty stats on the bad team. His team finished 24-58 in year 1, followed by 15-67 year 2, then 17-65, 26-40, 31-51, 40-42, never even reached 500 with the Al Jefferson, Randy Foye, and Corey Brewers of the world. After 2 seasons, Love wasn't expected to be anything big, but broke out during 2011 after his memorable insane 31-point, 31-rebound game against the Knicks November 2010, the first time he became super relevant, being the last player since Moses Malone to accomplish a 30-30 feat, kept many loose balls alive, but made very little noise since his team won an awful 17 games, played with Michael Lazy Beasley, Luke Rittenauer, and Wesley Bus Johnson. Love did average 20 and 15, led the league in boards in 2011, even made the NBA All-Star team, but his pick and roll defense wasn't good since his individual rebounding total looks good on paper. His rotation, often late, didn't close out, would go under guys on the pick and roll and put himself in prime position to crash the boards. 2012 Love's contract season originally wanted a 5-year deal. The designated player offer must be made prior to the final year, but his qualifying offer denied. The awful owner Glenn Taylor even said, since he hasn't came close to leading the franchise to the playoffs yet, when he wasn't getting along with the team, Wolves GM David Kahn ran to the training room, giving Love an offer sheet in his hands, basically begging him to sign. Love then agreed to sign a regular extension at 24 years old, continued to ball out, a double-double machine, averaged 26 and 13, had the 3-point shot going to his game, including some memorable clutch jumpers. Yes, Kevin Love was the go-to guy for Minnesota, believe it or not. Many forget he won the 2012 3-point contest also, even had a career-best 51-point game against the Thunder, a much lower scoring pace back then, named to NBA All-Second Team, the highest he'll ever go. Despite being 14 games under 500, the franchise most wins since 2007, his 5th season got cut short due to a hand injury, limited to 18 games. In Love's final year with Minnesota, statistically his best season, 26 points, 12.5 boards, 4.5 assists, superstar quality numbers, considered the best power forward in the game depending who you ask. It was between Love, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Blake Griffin at the time. His outlet passes became a thing of beauty. Some even thought Love was a top 5 to top 10 player. He was absolutely nowhere near top 5, but the league talent was at a low point in 2014. LeBron and KD way above everybody else, CP3 next, along with the Melos, Griffins, Westbrooks, the Currys and Hardens of the world weren't as established. Kobe and D Rose got hurt, Wade and Nowitzki slowed down. Love even started in the All-Star game, led his team to 40 wins, but still nowhere close to the playoffs in the tough West, played with Kevin Martin, Ricky Rubio, Nikola Pekovic, and JJ Barea, then traded to Cleveland in the Andrew Wiggins deal. With James arriving, Love was immediately listed as the 3rd option. With rising superstar Kyrie, this was LeBron's new big 3. Love instantly referred to the Chris Bosh type role. Although the Cavs were winning games, Love's number heavily declined significantly and his percentages also dropped. Struggled figuring out a way to fit in, took half his shots from 3 because LeBron was better on the post and basically better than Love offensively in every way, and Kyrie was deadly with his drives. Love was considered a spot-up guy, having plenty of struggles. James even lashed out on Twitter, saying stop trying to find a way to fit out and just fit in, be part of something special, obviously directed towards Love. Cleveland Cleveland was the favorite to win it all in 15 until Love's shoulders collided with Kelly Olynyk, forcing him to undergo surgery and miss the remainder of the playoffs. James led that Cavs team to the finals anyway. After re-signing with the team, Love's role was still a question mark since his strength involved being on the offensive end and scoring, wasn't great on defense, lost a lot of weight, and wasn't as dominant crashing the boards, battled with stronger bigs, often got bodied. All of a sudden, became the most criticized player in the league, stood in the corner as a role player most nights. Love also dealt with depression and had anxiety. The criticisms definitely didn't help his confidence. Every time LeBron loses a game, the majority of the blame went to Love. Labeled soft, not aggressive enough, didn't do enough on defense. Unlike other power forwards like Anthony Davis or Chris Bosh, both were extremely agile, long, athletic, and terrific defenders. While Love's style of game was taken away and couldn't capitalize much on his weaknesses, couldn't get his usual touches, ended up averaging 16 and 10 in 2016, put up 15 and 9 in those playoffs. Very on and off, James and Irving averaged over 26 and 25 a game apiece that title run. Love was heavily scrutinized in the finals after suffering a concussion in Game 2, forced to miss Game 3. The Cavs easily won without him, came off the bench Game 4, barely produced. Golden State a bad matchup overall for Love in those finals. Draymond basically dominated him. Love also constantly struggled to score on smaller guys in the playoffs, shot just 38% in the 2016 postseason, wasn't even close to being the physical player he once was. Even in an elimination Game 5, it was basically James and Irving 41 points apiece. Love 33 minutes, 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, was utilized as a Channing Frye type player, despite having way more skills than Frye. The Cavs' two superstars upped their game to another level to make up for Love's struggles. Despite Cleveland winning Game 6, Love only made 1 shot in under 12 minutes of action, 7 points, 3 rebounds. After all the criticism, Love made everybody forget about his lack of finals production after stopping Steph Curry, the most important defensive possession of his career in Game 7. Despite below standard averages of 8.5 points, under 7 rebounds, 36% shooting for the series, Love did grab 14 big rebounds in Game 7, absolutely bullied Festus Ezeli on the glass. His aggressiveness prevented more opportunities for Golden State. I don't think Cleveland would have won Game 7 without Love crashing the boards, playing aggressive against a Warriors weak front line without Bogut, so Love does deserve his credit for winning that championship. Year 3 with Cleveland found his rhythm in 2017, averaged 19 and 11, including a 34-point barrage in the first quarter against Portland, the second most points all time in a quarter. Named an All-Star reserve, had knee surgery though, out 6 weeks. The East was a cakewalk anyway. Love had arguably his best playoff series against Boston in the conference finals, averaged 22.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, flourished his role, had his moments in the finals, played much better than 2016, but no chance against the super stacked Warriors. Injuries continued to slow Love down. With Irving gone, the 6'8 power forward was barely the true second option. His numbers actually went down without Kyrie, had injuries, missed 23 games with a hand fracture, once again played below his standards against the Pacers round 1, averaged 11 and 10 on 32% shooting up to Game 7, getting contained by the mobile daddy-ish Young. Love did step up his game, having 14 big points in Game 7, scored a couple buckets when James wasn't in the game, a stellar effort to make up for his awful series. After a struggle in Game 1 versus Toronto, Love looked like his former All-Star self, put up 31 and 11 in Game 2, followed by 21 and 16 and 23 in Game 4, but not too impactful in the Boston series, had a concussion, first 5 minutes of Game 6, missed Game 7. It was LeBron once again doing the heavy lifting, leading that team to the finals. Any team would have had an extremely difficult time trying to win the title with Love as a second option, although he did average 19 and 11 while getting swept in those finals. Despite him and LeBron playing up to their standards, still couldn't win a game against the super team Dubs, seeing too many inconsistencies in the postseason, on and off, never knowing what he'll give you. LeBron's greatness kind of made everyone forget some of Love's terrible games. Now all alone in Cleveland, it was his chance to prove he can be the player he was with the Timberwolves. Expected to average over 20 and 10 at the very least without LeBron, didn't quite happen. Just 4 games into the season, sidelined with an injured foot, team had no identity, was initially ruled out 6 weeks, but didn't return till February after missing 50 games. If James was to remain in Cleveland, you bet Love would have had a sense of urgency to come back quicker. A 19-win team, unpromising, 22 games, averaged 17 and 11. His contract looked like a disaster, also didn't mesh with the young bull. Although he remained pretty healthy in 2020, played 56 streaks of a possible 63 games, 31 years old, wasn't close to being the player he once was. His 20-point days long gone. Clash with coach John Beilein continued to remain in trade rumors. His contract though very hard to swallow. No team wants that. Love should have obviously been more aware, knowing what he was gonna sign up for. When LeBron left and no other stars to lean to, combined with the young guys over dribbling and not earning Love's respect, things got super ugly as expected towards GM Kobe Altman. Even threw the ball at Jetty in the middle of a game after being angry at Colin Sexton dribbling forever. The NBA itself also drastically changed since his Timberwolves days. The floor became more spread out for the guards. Big men on the post became an afterthought. Plus, he was considered small and skinny as a power forward. The only memorable thing to remember about Love at the start of the 2019-20 season, from being listed 6'10" down all the way to 6'8", a 2-inch difference. The first time many found out what Love's real height is. After a year later, Love still stuck with the Cavs, injury prone yet again, played just 4 games thus far, a non-factor now, more relevant and known in the public eye for his courage speaking out on mental health, created the Kevin Love Fund, a vocal leader off the court, earned the Arthur Ashe Courage Award in the 2020 ESPYs. As for 2021, I don't ever see Kevin Love regaining back to his old form. The young Cavs will play with or without him, making over $31 million and $28 million in 2022 and 23. It will be extremely shocking if Love remains in Cleveland till his contract expires. We're expecting the team to buy him out at some point, whether it's this year or 2022, maybe 2023. When he does return, Love wouldn't even be the first, second, or third option. As of now, as times change, Colin Sexton's the #1 guy in Cleveland, played like a borderline all-star all season. Darius Garland, #2 option, decent improvement, and Jared Allen right now more valuable than Love as well. If Love was fully healthy, the Cavs wouldn't be awful, but times have certainly changed and the damage appears to be done. After teammate Sexton liked the tweet ripping Love's ridiculous contract, since then unliked it, but the internet lives forever. Having that right calf injury, missing up to 33 consecutive games, what appears to be a minor injury tends to always become bigger than expected. There's a reason why LeBron needed to leave Cleveland and getting paired with another superstar to continue winning titles. Kevin Love simply not the answer for a second option, not even a third option at this point, not a full season type guy. His age and body have appeared to caught up on him. Nearing towards the end, if Love would have never been traded to Cleveland and remained on the Wolves, that franchise would have continued to stink anyway. After the 2014 season, Love was about to be traded for Golden State's Klay Thompson, but Jerry West stepped in and told Bob Myers no, Golden State simply wouldn't have the same impact with Love, as Klay became a more successful player since, one of the best outside shooters all time. Love went from averaging 26 a game to never fully cracking 20 points in a season since his Minnesota days. It's safe to say the experiment of Kevin Love trying to be the #1 option for Cleveland after James's departure has been a failure. If he ends up in a playoff caliber team to finish off his career, expect Love to play to a similar role to Carmelo Anthony for Portland, maybe even come off the bench. Some nights he'll look sharp and get you 20 and 10, other nights 6 and 5 and struggle. After missing many games with hand, knee, leg, and shoulder injuries between 2017 and 2019, Love played 141 of a possible 246 games. Assuming he will play a few more years on a better team, a rotation piece, he'll likely end up making the Hall of Fame. But if he never would have played with LeBron, who knows how many playoff series Love would have won, when he never came close to sniffing it as a first option in his better playing days. Plus, he struggled in many of his playoff series. So far, the only years he's made the playoffs, the 4 seasons under LeBron's second stint with the Cavs, every other year didn't come close. Thank you so much for watching this video. How do you guys think Kevin Love will finish out his career? Will he get bought out and join a contender, maybe become a role player and be a 12 and 8 guy for the next few years? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.